Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about one of the most fascinating goddesses from Celtic folklore, Cerridwen. Cerridwen is a goddess best known in the mythology of Wales. She appears mainly in the tale of Taliesin, in the epic cycle of the Mabinogion. The name Cerridwen originates from the Welsh language and can be spelled in various ways. There is no real consent on what the name means, but Cerrid most likely means crooked, bent, or even poetry or song, while Wen means fair, woman, blessed, or white. So, in a way, she is known as the White Witch and is a great sorceress, gifted with the power of Arwen. But she is also known as the Dark Moon Goddess, the Great Mother, and the Goddess of the Underworld. She is the goddess of creation, inspiration, knowledge, wisdom, magic, enchantment, and transformation. But she is also a goddess of regeneration, death, astrology, herbology, nature, and fertility. She has the power to shapeshift and is known as the keeper of the Cauldron of knowledge, inspiration, and rebirth. And as mentioned before, she is gifted with the Arwen, the gift of prophecy, poetic wisdom, spiritual strength, insight, and inspiration from Welsh folklore. As you can see, she's a pretty mighty goddess and one of the most powerful witches in all of Celtic folklore. And that might be the reason why she's still worshipped by followers of several pagan religions today. At least her gift of Arwen partly originates from the magical cauldron in her possession. As a white witch, she uses the cauldron to brew powerful potions, mostly to help people. Some of those potions can imbue people with wisdom and knowledge. Others can change the appearance of people and make them beautiful, or even give them the ability to shapeshift, or the gift of Arwen itself. But her potions are also very dangerous. Once the gift is given, a single drop of the potion is able to kill. Well aware of that, Cerridwen is careful to whom she gifts her potions, since every potion comes with a price, and as a white witch, she doesn't wish to harm anyone. By the way, the cauldron isn't the only object of power in her possession. She's also said to have a throne that, well, gives her the ability to lend her powers to other people at her will. I can't say for sure, though, if the throne itself gives her certain powers or amplifies her powers, for the sources contradict each other there. But the more important possession is her cauldron. There is a giant in Irish mythology who was also in possession of this cauldron, and everything points to the fact that those two entities were the same. So the Welsh Cerridwen originally was known as Cimidi Cimainfil, which means pregnant in battle, who had emerged from a lake and where she was portrayed as a hideous and immortal giant woman. The Irish people were terrified of the powers her cauldron gave her, and in the end expelled her from Ireland. Together with her husband Rhasar, she left Ireland and came to Wales, and was welcomed by Bran the Blessed. But the tale of Bran the Blessed is a tale for another day. Cerridwen is wife to Tegid Fol, also known as Tacitus the Bold, or as mentioned before as Rhasar. Together they lived and ruled at Bala Lake, and had two children, the most beautiful daughter named Crevi, and the most hideous son named Morvran Avagdi. Morvran was demented and deformed, and his skin was burned, but nonetheless he appears in the Arthurian legends as one of the warriors of King Arthur. Those two children were like day and night, for even in her motherhood she was the ruler of light and darkness. Cerridwen loved Morvran, since he was her son, and wanted nothing but the best for him. And so, since he was so hideous and demented, she wanted to help him. She used her magical cauldron and all of her talents to brew a potion to make him intelligent and wise. But a potion like this isn't easy to brew, To be fully functional, it had to brew for 1 whole year and a day at the right temperature, and the required herbs and ingredients had to be added at the appropriate astrological times. As soon as it was finally ready, Morvran had to drink exactly 3 drops of it, no more, no less. Making a potion like that was a giant endeavor, and so Cerridwen employed a servant named Gwian to help her to finish it. Gwian had to steer the potion at the correct speed while it was brewing, but it came to be that on the last day there was an unforeseen accident. While Gwian was still steering, 3 drops of the potion splashed out of the cauldron and scalded Gwian's thumb. Without even thinking about it, he stuck his thumb into his mouth to cool it, like probably everyone would have done. But by doing so, the wisdom and talents that were intended for Morvran went over to Gwian. Now, full of new wisdom, Gwian knew that Cerridwen would be furious with him, and that he had to fear for his life. And so, to save himself, he used his new talents to shapeshift into a rabbit to escape. And thus began a chase like no other. As Cerridwen realized what had happened, she shapeshifted into a greyhound and started chasing after him. Gwian tried a new tactic and turned into a fish. A salmon, to be correct. If you see my video about the invasions of Ireland, you'll understand why I got stuck at that point. Anyway, he turned into a salmon and jumped into a river. But Cerridwen wasn't done yet. She turned into an otter and came slowly closer. Gwian turned into a small bird, Cerridwen into a giant hawk, still coming closer. In his desperation, Gwian changed into a grain of corn, but Cerridwen quickly turned into a hen, used her divine ability to quickly find the right corn of grain, and swallowed him, thinking thus would end his life. But the story didn't quite end there. Instead of dying, Gwian changed, and Cerridwen became pregnant. Full of anger, Cerridwen decided to kill the child at birth. But when it was born, it was so beautiful, and her natural mother feeling so strong, that she wasn't able to. Instead, she threw him into a leather skin bag and threw him into the ocean. But the child didn't drown. Instead, it was rescued by the Prince Elven, and he and his wife, who had no children of their own, adopted him and named him Taliesin. And so, Cerridwen had a 3rd child. Ironically, this child, which she had never planned to get, is the child she is most famous for. For Taliesin grew up to be a bard and the greatest of all Welsh poets. His words were said to be able to heal wounds, and he had the gift of prophecy. He is often thought to be a variant or even the origin of the legendary wizard Merlin. However, since Taliesin had the powers of his mother and was, like I said, the greatest bard and poet, the Welsh bards are still known as Cerridwen, sons of Cerridwen, in his honor. All in all, Cerridwen symbolizes the need for transformation and indicates upcoming changes. She is one of the most powerful goddesses and witches in Celtic, but especially in Welsh mythology. And according to some, she is in a way the mother of the legendary wizard Merlin. She is the goddess of the underworld, but at the same time an altruistic white witch, and all in all a mother goddess full of wonders. Thank you very much for listening. If you liked the video, like always, please leave a like. And if you want to know more about Celtic deities, take a look at my other videos. If you have any suggestions to which Celtic deity I should cover next, leave a comment down below. See you next time. Bye!